Vanakkam. The next segment of the program is going to be in English. And you all know, according to your schedule, what's next, coming up next. It's going to be a presentation about Elam, the situation there, the past and the present, as given by a good friend of mine, and the Vice President of the US TPAC. If some of you don't know what it is still, it's the US Tamil Political Action Committee, and they had a panel session going on right now, and she is the Vice President of that organization. Chandra is a doctor from Connecticut. She went and worked in Sri Lanka, rather I should say Vani, during the tsunami times, and the rest of the story she is going to describe in her own words. So please pay close attention, and please make sure your children are not making any kind of noises, so the rest of us can hear what she is going to say. And thank you for attention, Dr. Elan1.
Vanakkam. I want to thank the organizers of this event who have brought us all together. By the way, can you hear me? Yell Tamil Elam if you can hear me. I can't hear you. Okay. I want to thank the organizers of this event who have brought us all together. I'm so impressed with the number of people who have traveled great distances, taken off from work, and put their lives aside to be here. Look at us, more than 1,000 people showing up in solidarity and giving voice to the Tamil people of Sri Lanka. We have the ability to change the course of the Tamil people. My speech is dedicated to the Tamils of Sri Lanka who are fighting for their lives and cannot be here. A moment of silence. I'm so blessed to know many of you here, but as some of you don't know me, I'll tell you how I came to be so committed to the cause and a born-again Tamil. I'm an American doctor who went to the northern coast of Sri Lanka after the tsunami and helped in a fishing village north of Kilinochchi. I traveled the road from Kilinochchi through the Elephant Pass, up through the fishing villages that dot the shore. I met the most beautiful people, and an extraordinary thing happened to me. I fell in love. I fell in love with the Tamil people, their courage, their strength, and their willingness to invite me into their homes and share their grief. I helped the families make sense of the incomprehensible. I treated the children, met teachers, fishermen, dads, moms, and spoke into the night with people who are overwhelmed with tragedy. People just like us, trying to hold their families together in extraordinary circumstances. I took their pictures home with me and left a piece of my heart there in the northeast coast of Sri Lanka. I went back 6 months later by myself to see my village and visit the people that I helped. They greeted me like family, and I gave them the photos that I had taken from them. As I prepared for my third visit back, all hell broke loose when the government broke the ceasefire. Since then, the genocide of the Tamil people has increased to heartbreaking devastation. The genocide of the Tamil people is personal for me. I left friends, sisters, including a young Tamil doctor who I worked with. She had tremendous compassion for the patients, and we exchanged stories. 2 women doctors from different places on this planet, but yet the same in our humanness. I am devastated that she is probably dead. For her and my other friends, I will never stop fighting for the Tamil people. This happens to be a very beautiful man. Another time I can tell you his story, but a very beautiful and courageous man who actually cut out the bark of a tree to get out there and fish right after the tsunami to feed his family. Beautiful man. I worked right there on the land in the Bani, and I met hundreds of beautiful people in the north. But now it's overrun by government savages. My memories of Tamil children playing in the villages post-tsunami are now covered with death and destruction. As Americans and Tamils, we are joined in our humanity. The second reason I fight for the Tamils is the chilling similarity to the Jews being killed in Nazi Germany. I lost family in the concentration camps. Growing up, I thought the reason that Nazis existed was to show us what evil looked like in human form, so that it would never happen again. But here we see before our eyes the Tamil innocents, that's the Tamils and the Jews on the right, the Tamil innocents being slaughtered, starved, denied medicine, tortured, and kidnapped, and never again seems hollow. We must fight to end this genocide. The people in these camps once lived in their own homes. They're farmers, fishermen, priests, doctors, nurses, engineers, lawyers, principals, teachers, civil officers. I met many of them up in the Bani, and people from all walks of life. They once lived happily, and now they're left to suffer in the torture chambers of the concentration camps of Sri Lanka. The Jews were led to slaughter then, and the Tamils are being slaughtered now. A recent eyewitness report this week from one of the camps said, the children are scooping up filthy water. The toilets are inadequate. These are for the 300,000 Tamil hostages. Human waste lies in open areas, and there is no freedom of movement. People are prisoners. There's an epidemic of chickenpox and hepatitis. 10 to 15 people are dying every day. There are 35,000 children in the camp and 1,800 orphans. Families are separated and not allowed to see each other. What kind of evil government kills its own civilians? Saddam Hussein, the government of Sudan, the government of Burma, Pol Pot of Cambodia, Nazi Germany, and the government of Sri Lanka. They are all members of the killing club. I don't have to tell you who's on the right, okay? Rajapaksa, the most evil in the line of oppressive Sinhalese, has been dedicated to the killing of the Tamils for 60 years. Under the lie of fighting a war on terror, the government of Sri Lanka went full force into slaughter and ethnic cleansing of the Tamil people. This ethnic cleansing of the Tamils has spread like a bloodstain across Tamil land. Mahinda Rajapaksa, you are guilty of war crimes against the Tamil people. You know, he's no different than Milosevic. Some of you know Milosevic from Yugoslavia, who is a war criminal and has been accused. Look at his arrogance. The Sri Lankan government apologizes to no one. During the war, about the war, they don't say that civilian deaths were collateral damage. They even deny it happened. They don't apologize for using cluster bombs on civilian areas, using incendiary bombs on densely packed civilians. They don't apologize for leaving civilians lying on the streets, bleeding to death. They don't apologize for doing forced abortions of Tamil women in concentration camps. They don't apologize for threatening doctors to leave and then arresting the heroic 3 doctors that stayed to help the Tamils trapped in the fighting. They don't apologize for ordering the UN and all charity organizations to leave. They don't apologize for refusing the United Nations monitoring in the camps to prevent torture and rapes. They don't apologize or even admit that they killed over 25,000 Tamils, and we don't